How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today I wanted to talk about the best way of finding the future that you want is to, go out there and grab it and create it for yourself. The best way of understanding what your future is going to hold is to go out there and create it for yourself. There's very little you can do about the future, right? There's no way of knowing truly what is going to happen, right? And I'm all for living in the moment, for getting down and dirty with the things that need to be done now, right? And to try and be mindful about this moment, right? And to experience the moment for all it's worth. But at the end of the day, you have to sort of spend some of your momentary time, this moment that you've got now, in planning about what you're going to do in the future. Before I stopped drinking, I had loads of plans. I always had plans for what I was going to do, but one step forward, two steps back with the alcohol, right? You probably recognize that story yourself, or something along those lines, very similar to it. So, to actually sit there and to make plans when you've got this underlying handicap, self-inflicted handicap, is not a good way of going about life. So, obviously when I'm talking about sort of making plans and pushing yourself towards your future, I'm talking about first and foremost getting rid of this self-inflicted handicap of toxic intoxication. I think most of the time we humans tend to live in like a waking dream, right? A waking sleep. We act through our lives on a very subconscious level, subconscious basis, and I think that's good to a certain extent. It means that we've got the room to talk, to think, to plan, and to push things into action if we choose. But most people do not choose that area of life. What they do is they just carry on through the unconscious waking sleep, and they allow life to happen to them instead of actively pushing at life and actively planning and acting in life to push yourself towards the goals that you want to achieve in life, right? And I think it's one of the reasons why we do drink, and we do want to take drugs, is because we want to, at the same time as we are quite comfortable in our comfort zones and we're quite comfortable sort of staying there and sitting there, we also want to achieve, we want to do well, we want to do things with our lives. So this causes a disparity. It causes a conflict in our own brains, which we find it very hard to deal with. So it's much easier to go and turn to alcohol, to turn to a drug, and say, right, well, I'll let the drug force me not to think about this, rather than have to agonize over the thoughts and eventually get up and have to put in the hard effort to do it, But, as they say, the song says, the drugs don't work, they just make it worse. So I think that's one of the reasons why people drink. I think other reasons are people fear the future. They fear the unknown quantity that the future offers up to them, the future is not certain. But the only way that you can overcome this and to get around this fear of the future, fear of the unknown, is to actively plan, actively sort of think about your future, think about where you are now, know where you are now. And as I say, it's useless trying to plan something if you're also standing in your own way, right? You're also putting barriers in front of your own progress. And alcohol drinking, even in smaller amounts, is a barrier to your progress, right? It's a barrier to getting where you want to go. You know, you will never find the most successful people in life who take lots of drugs. As soon as they start that kind of shit, it's the start of the downfall every time, because it just doesn't go together. You know, growth and self-handicapping don't go together. You know, you cannot have, you know, the two things are like two positive or two negative electrons. You know, they just repel each other. You know, so, you know, you've got to make your plans for 5 years down the road where you want to be, 10 years down the road if you want to. I mean, the biggest planners that I know, biggest thinkers, are thinking 30 or 40 years into the future, into their own future, and thinking where they want to be in that time frame. But as I say, you know, keep it simple, keep 5 years down the road. Make the big plans and then break those plans down into smaller chunks, and how you're going to achieve those smaller chunks, you know, so smaller time frames. So you want to be in a certain place in 5 years' time. How are you going to get there? So you have to do it in steps. So break that down into yearly steps. So you want to get here by year 1, there by year 2, there by year 3, so on and so forth, right? And then you review those plans every single day. You know, you break those plans down into smaller and smaller chunks until, you know, you've got a step-by-step list. You know what you're going to do. You're making progress every day. You're pushing yourself forwards to achieve that thing. And then if you do that and you stick to your plan, you don't put the roadblocks in your own fucking way, you're going to get there, you know. And at the end of the day, what you envisioned as being your plan of 5 years down the road might not be where you get. You know, you can change the plan along the way. It's not written in stone. It's not something that anyone else is going to keep you accountable to. You know, you can change it, but it's forward momentum in a direction of onwards and upwards, right? You're going forwards and onwards and upwards all the time. And if you change the plans, you keep positive, you keep the positive plans, you're going to get there, you know. That's what it's about, is thinking it through, thinking how you're going to do it, and then doing it. Until next time, my name is Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Take care of yourself. Go on over to the website if you want loads of information about quitting drinking alcohol and what to do after you've stopped, and motivation, inspiration, determination, expectation. All the Asians are over on Alcohol Mastery. Onwards and upwards. Take care.